November 9th, 3 p.m. recording this. Today is the day of the new live ban list. We had YCS San Jose this weekend, so we got to see the new set in action, Dimension of Chaos. And from this day forward, we have a new ban list. Dueling Network has reset its rating. You're all free to go out and climb up, see how far you can get this format. And yeah, so before I begin, and this video is probably going to be a bit of a long one. It's more of a podcasty sort of thing, so don't expect too much visuals or anything like that. Feel free to just alt-tab back into Facebook or whatever and do your thing, and feel free to just listen to me express my thoughts and impart my very little knowledge upon you for this coming ban list. So you've been warned. Maybe expect some fruity language, of course, as usual, because I am a bit of a potty mouth. Anyway, so yeah, where do we begin? I made a ban list sort of reaction video recently, like on the day of the ban list, and it wasn't like any sort of analytical thing. It was just sort of kind of people's reaction there and then sort of thing, and it's interesting. And so I decided not to talk about it that night, because I think it's better to just maybe wait for an event, or wait till the set came out at least, sort of play test a little bit online, gather your thoughts, think about it a little bit before I came to this conclusion of the video I'm making just now. So where do we begin? Overall impressions. Overall, I'm gonna have to say I'm disappointed. I don't like the direction that Konami took. I thought that they were taking a different direction this ban list. This year in general, they made a lot of announcements that sort of showed that they were planning to change the game a little bit. You know, we saw their announcement about Bosch having double the pull rates. You know, they've started to make things a lot more accessible. They're making an extremely good deck with the Magicians, you know, in a structure deck. And, you know, it's really helping out budget players. You know, some of the best cards in the game right now, like the clowns and stuff, like they're all commons and rares. So I like that they were, you know, making things a lot more accessible. Previous ban list, they brought stuff back. And I think it's nice for them to sort of, like, you know, bring back old decks. Because in the end, like, the old decks have been power creeped out of the game now. Like, Fire Fist don't need 3 rekindling to like win a white. They need more than that. That's not gonna help. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, there's a couple of things missing, of course, like rekindling. But I think Konami hinted towards the fact that, you know, they were gonna try bring things back and try sort of just let people play what they want, even though, like, previously the ban lists were driven by profit. So I thought maybe this time around, you know, with this new change in their philosophy and stuff, what they were going to do was change the way that we're going to view the game. They were going to, like, let you play what you wanted rather than force you towards a new set or something. Like, I can understand they want to profit, but Konami need to understand that people will still buy their product. Like, having full power Fire Fist or having full power Glad Beast at my disposal isn't gonna make me not buy your product. Do you know what I mean? I'm still gonna want to, like, make a binder and trade and build a new deck, but that doesn't mean, like, having 3 Hornet means that I'm not going to buy a new product. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's a shame that they've decided to go this route, and essentially the overall image of what they're saying with this ban list is pretty much out with the old, in with the new. That's it. That's how we can summarize this ban list. This ban list has nothing to do with balance, has nothing to do with tuning the game to a fair level, nothing to do with any of that whatsoever. This ban list is pretty much saying, stop playing decks from last year, play this deck from Dimension of Chaos, wait for Breaker of Shadows, play those decks instead. That's what Konami are saying. And that's disappointing. It really is. Like, I don't think that full power Shaddolls have a chance, you know, at doing anything, like, currently. Like, they got one top at YCS San Jose this weekend. One single top to Shaddolls. That's a rogue deck. and they're at full. They were at full power. Imagine what they're gonna do. They're gonna do nothing now. Exactly. Don't imagine what they're gonna do. They won't do anything. There's nothing to imagine. So it's sad. You know, it's really disappointing. That they would cave like this to product sales, essentially, right? So that's my overall impression. Let's take a look at the cards. First one on the list, as you can see right here, Qliphort Towers. So Towers is a funny card because some people either hate it or think it's trash, or, you know, obviously some people will love it because they play Towers Turbos, unfortunately. Some people just don't have friends. We shouldn't make fun of them for that. But anyway, Towers banned. See, Towers as a card itself, I don't find problematic in some respects. I think it's a strong boss monster, but I think that everything around it is what makes it better, right? There was one effect of Towers, which I think if it didn't have it would be okay. So Towers lets you pitch a monster out of your opponent's hand. It's not even just a card out your opponent's hand, it's a monster specifically. So automatically when you start your turn against Towers, you're starting on 5 cards and they're starting on 2, 5, they're starting on 6. Assuming they used up their whole hand for a Pendulum Summon and they resolved Monolith. They're starting on 6 and you're starting on... No, you're both starting on 5 cards, right? Which didn't give you any advantage going second. So I think pitch it, and on top of that, you need your monsters as resources to out Towers. You need to be able to overlay into Excalibur. You need to be able to make Trishula and get the Decisive Armor Search. You need to be able to do these things against Towers, right? And I think by removing that, you know, the pitching thing, it would have made it okay. I think that because of cards like Diamond Crab King, you know, that's how potentially if you have instant fusion, you pitch level 4, that's a 1 card out to Towers, right? For us in Europe, we don't have Diamond Crab King, so I think Towers probably could have stayed, in all honesty. Like, I understand some decks struggle with Towers, but most decks post 2014 won't have an issue with Towers, right? Apart from Shaddoll. Shaddoll's notoriously have a trouble matchup against Qliphort. I don't think it, like, I can see, the thing is, right, you need time to sort of build up your resources to out Towers. You know, you might need to set, like, your Shaddoll core and then summon it next turn and then summon Falco and then make Star Eater. That takes time, that takes setup. A lot of decks do need setup and time. They can't just 1 turn out Towers. But the reason I think that Towers was so strong is not because of the individual card itself, it's because it pops something out your hand and then it puts you on a countdown of literally 1 turn. You have 1 turn or 2 maximum to out Towers because they can still Pendulum Summon all their guys. You know, maybe if it had the restriction like you cannot special summon Qliphort monsters for the rest of while this card is face up on the field. Something like that, you know. So it's not really Towers itself it's a problem, it's the fact that they can still, they're going to kill you next turn because of the pendulum mechanic, because of the fact they're dwindling your resources, you know, and I think that's what made it fair. So overall, there's a long-winded way of me saying, yes, it should be banned. But I can see arguments for the other side, you know. So let's see, what else? Maybe just go over something that could have came back. Emperor Dragon probably could have came back. Stratos, I swear to God, we could have 3 Stratos, the deck would be trash. Honestly, people don't know what's coming in Breaker of Shadows. It's uncomparable. Like, I'm gonna have to make a video on it soon, but I promise you, what's coming in Breaker of Shadows is nothing like you've ever seen in your life. It's beyond Dragon Rulers. It makes Dragon Rulers look slow and like bricky and inconsistent. Like, you will not believe what we're getting, trust me. But anyway, let's just go through the ban shit, I guess. So ban Shrit. Now, this is, I would argue, one of the most important Necros cards. Being able to tribute your tribute for the ritual summon of your boss monsters. Being able to do that with 1 card that floats, because it replaces itself with another Brynach. I think being able to do that is really strong, but I don't think it's game breaking. Like, the biggest play and biggest combo that Necros do would be they Kaleido out the Unicorn, they cycle back the Valk or the Bryo from the grave, and then they Exo out the Trish. That was their sort of power play, right? And I think with Shrit at 1, that made that play limited to 1. You could only do that big push, like the standard triple mirror Necros push, in 1 turn. And if that got stopped in any way, you were in a difficult situation. You know, if your Trish got Veilered, or you got Lancia'd, or Breakthroughs, or anything like that, like, you were in a pretty tough situation after that, if you didn't, you know, manage to resolve this. So, you know, I don't want to go by anecdotal evidence, but if we can see if San Jose is anything to go by, then Necros are sort of on an equal playing field. They could have gotten a light tap on the wrist, I think. And I think that by limiting Brionac, that weakens Shrit as well, because the idea is that you Brionac for Shrit, and then Shrit would search like another Brionac, so it means you could like continue on for next turn. Or you could, you know, obviously do the Trishula play like I said. And I think, you know, Brionac at 1 could have potentially like argued for Shrit to staying at 1 as well. And I think that really overall, like, Necros have lost their main play, and summoning out Trishula and summoning out like anything that isn't Valk or Unicorn now is like really hard. You know, like, you're gonna spend a lot of resources to summon Trish now. Like, if you banish your 9s from the graveyard, if you banish Colossalas and Brionac from graveyard to summon Trishula, you better hope that thing's resolving, because you just banished your only Brionac. Do you know what I mean? So things are really tough now, and I think that, you know, I just realized I'm sort of talking about Brionac now at 1. Like, I am going over the whole thing like holistically, I guess. So Shrit to 1, I think, was probably unwarranted. Brionac to 1, I can understand. Unicorn to 1, I can understand. So Unicorn did got put to 1. I'll just scroll down to it here. So Unicorn and Brionac are both at 1 now, and it's, yeah, I think that like that, like, Brionac Unicorn to 1, okay, sure, but Shrit on top of that makes the deck super difficult to play now, because like, you need your Trishula to resolve now, or else you lose. It's lost a lot of its like speed now, because, you know, making this damn Trishula is so hard in the first place, and you don't have much recovery to like Trish them again next turn or something, because you've lost your only well, there is no Shrit anymore. Like, it's really tough now, and, you know, like I said, if San Jose is anything to go by, Necros didn't dominate as we usually expected them to do, you know. It's a tough one. I think Shrit should have stayed, but I think Unicorn and Brionac probably could have got hit. I think Unicorn is probably like, you could have banned Unicorn, that would have been enough, honestly. Like, I can understand Unicorn being a troublesome card next list. Well, this list, I guess, this set and next set, I can understand that. But now it's like, 1 Unicorn, sure, but, you know, they've got 1 Shrit, so it's like, it's almost as if they're going to try Floodgate the new Pendulum decks next set. I don't know how it's really going to play out. Yeah, I don't know. Construct being banned, I've sort of kind of gone over this, I think, maybe a little bit. Yeah, like, Shaddolls are trash. Like, they're such a bad deck, you know? Like, 1 top at San Jose. The deck, honestly, like, it's not, okay, it's not trash, but, like, come on, it struggles against, like, the weirdest things, and now they've banned Construct. It's like, pepperoni, that's all I can say. Exciton, totally unwarranted. I don't think that this card is necessary in the game. In a game where the power creep has gone to the point where you can go like +5, +6 turn 1, this thing should exist to punish people for that, you know, for overextending and stuff. And this hit has nothing to do with balance or anything like that. This hit, if anything, this card should have been hit in hat format. Like, that was a format where I can understand this card being banned, because you can't set your traps if none of them are an answer to Exciton Knight. Do you know what I mean? That was a format which could have had Exciton being banned, right? But now they're banning it in a Pendulum format, because what are they saying? All they're saying is that we want Pendulums to be the thing now. That's the staple deck. We want you all to go and play Pendulums. Go play Pendulums. Don't worry about Exciton. We'll ban it for you. That's what Konami are saying. And That's disappointing. What can I say? Like, balance wise, I cannot see the argument for like Exciton. Like, yeah, I can understand sort of. Some people would say like, oh, it's so helmet. Like, you just like pop all your opponent's cards. Like, okay, sure, but why is your opponent overextending in the first place? You know, like they should take these things into account. Rant over. Let's see. Scout got limited. Like I said, totally unwarranted. Qliphorts are trash. They're such a bad deck. Like, at full power, they're not even that great. Qliphort is just terrible. The only reason the deck ever did anything is because of how well it abused floodgates. Like, triple lose a turn, triple skill drain, triple emptiness. Like, if that was all available to them, they would be like probably one of the best decks. Like, but that's the only reason they were ever good. I don't think inherently the cards themselves as an engine are good. They're okay, but like, there's better decks out there. It's only because you can like sit behind a lose a turn and then pendulum out tons of guys who all go up to 2800 attack for the next turn. That's why the deck's good, because you can, you know, emptiness me with a 2800 guy that's unaffected by card effects, and if I do manage to draw the dark hole, it's going to go to the extra deck, so I still don't draw, so I still haven't outed your emptiness. That's why the deck was good, not because, like, you know, Helix popped my Fire Lake or something like that. That's not why the deck was ever good. It was good because of its, you know, synergy with floodgates. And yeah, so this is just adding salt to the wound. Like, one scout, one sacrifice. Even last list, they shouldn't have even had sacrifice limited. That was just ridiculous. Like, honestly, it didn't. Sacrifice is fine. I don't care. You can have 10 sacrifice. I don't care about sacrifice. What I care about is you sitting behind sitting behind lose a turn or skill drain or something. That's what I care about. I don't care that I can't destroy your monster by battle. I will find a way to get to destroy your monster by battle, or I will out your monster in some way. That's fine. I just can't do it if you're just gonna like lose a turn me and then like kill me with a pendulum summon the next turn. Like, that's what made the deck unfair, I think, subject to my opinion. Let's see, Graph at 1. So let's talk about Burning Abyss altogether as one unit. Graph at 1, Seer at 2. Seer at 2 doesn't really do anything. I think it makes your mills less sacky now, because sometimes you would go like Tour Guide, Graph, detach the Graph, mill 3, and you'd hit Seer and it's like, you know, like that's like a free Dante just from that, you know what I mean? So it makes your mills less sackier, but 2 doesn't really affect you that much. Graph, on the other hand, that's kind of a big deal. It makes Infernoids like a horrible matchup now, because they just banish your one Graph and it's like, okay, gigi, gigi, GG. Anyway, so yeah, like I said, when it comes to the results and what we're getting in the future, like the end of this year, like, oh my god, like, you guys need to play Burning Abyss against Magician, Mage, Spectre. It is the worst matchup I've ever seen. It is so bad. I've never, like, 3 Tour Guide, 3 Graph, 3 Seer. What else is limited? 3 Math. You could have all of that. It's not enough to beat Magician, Mage, Spectre. You don't know what struggle is until you've played Burning Abyss, staring down a Mage, Spectre, Unicorn, and like a Tempest or an Avion or something. Do you know what I mean? That is even just nothing on the field but a Mage, Spectre, Unicorn, and fodder for its effect, obviously, like a scale or monster or something. I think it's a monster. Like, you need to special summon 2 guys, so that means you've wasted their effects. You need to overlay into Dante. That gets bounced, and then those materials go to grave and they don't trigger because you've special them from your hands. And then you need to be able to normal summon like a Tour Guide to be able to out one Unicorn. It can't be targeted and it can't be destroyed by battle. Mage Spectres is such a disgusting matchup now for Burning Abyss. You don't understand. Like, I might be a little bit biased here because I'm sort of a Burning Abyss player at this stage, but wow, guys, you have no idea until you play this for yourself. When you sit there with your Fire Lake, that's like, hypothetically you manage to get a live Fire Lake. It does, like, what are you gonna Fire Lake? What are you gonna Fire Lake? They have Pendulum Call that protects their scales. They summon Mage Spectre monsters with traps, and they can't be targeted. They can't be destroyed. And it's a compulsory evacuation device on legs. It's just too much to deal with, and yet Konami felt that graph needed to be limited. I'm sorry, this is so funny. This is just so funny. Like, the newest deck is a complete anti Burning Abyss deck. Complete anti, opposite, beats, destroys Burning Abyss, and you wanna slaughter Burning Abyss more. It's like, I can't think of a parallel, you know. It's like when a bully like takes your money and beats you up, and then like beats you up more because like you looked at him or something. Like, that's what Konami are doing. Like, they're just, it's just so fun. Like, you guys can't. I'm laughing so much because it's a fucking unicorn, right? It's just a unicorn that just sits there doing nothing, and it can't be entirely destroyed. And you cry. Like, you can't break through it, you can't wing blast it, you can't Raigeki break it, you can't karma cut it. What do I do? I can't dark hole it, I can't Raigeki it. What are my outs? Tell me, someone tell me, please. What are my outs to a unicorn? It's a fucking unicorn. It's one card. It's one card. How does Burning Abyss out it? Sorry. I spent so long complaining about that. I'm sorry, guys. At locals this week, we've been proxying up decks, right? And we've been testing the matchup, and we've been like, you know, testing for YCS Lille. And I'm sitting there with my Burning Abyss deck from this format. Like, I'm playing with 3 Graph, 3 Seer, and I'm playing as my friend who's got Magician, Mage, Spectre proxied up. And I'm just sitting there, like, looking at a unicorn and looking at the cards in my hand to be like, okay, this trap targets, this trap targets, this trap targets, this destroys, and it can't be destroyed. This monster is like, well, that doesn't do anything. Like, I could summon this tour guide and, you know, make Dante. That would just get bounced. Like, okay. No. You know what's funny? Even tour guide doesn't out the fucking unicorn. Do you know why? Because they bounce the guy you summon with it. So you're stuck with the tour guide in the field. So you can't special anything out your hand. Let's just move on. Honestly, that's probably the best for my blood pressure right now. Stop talking about Burning Abyss versus Magician, Mage, Spectre. That is the worst matchup I've ever seen. That's like, I've never had a worse matchup in my life. I've only been playing for like 2 years, right? So I haven't really experienced all the degenerate old stuff, but oh my god, it's so funny to play Burning Abyss against Magician, Mage, Spectre. It's painful, it hurts, like, I don't know. Moving on. We have Mathematician. This one seems weird. I don't understand. Like, what were they trying to hit with this? Like, was it Shaddolls or was it Burning Abyss they were trying to hit with this? You know, was it clowns or was it couldn't have been clowns, right? So what were they trying to hit with one math? Like, what deck like really used maths as a staple? Like, Shaddolls maybe, right? But like, you banned Construct. What more could you do? He's dead. Stop hitting him. You know the saying, flogging a dead horse? Like, what are you doing? They don't have Construct anymore. What are they gonna make? It's so funny. Like, what are you gonna make? What are you gonna do with Mathematician? What are you gonna send? I don't know. It's level 3, so it's not like super great in pendulum decks, because, you know, I can understand you can math for juggler and stuff, but it's level 3, so it's not that great. I don't know. Next, this one takes the fucking biscuit. This is the funniest ban list hit I've ever seen. This is ulti can. This. Let me just highlight this for you. Ulti Canahawk. Why did you hit Ulti Canahawk? I need to bring something up for you guys. It's like a meme I made, right? I don't want to like boast or like push my Facebook page too much, right? But I need to show you this. I need to show you this picture. Look at this. When you have absolutely 0 achievements, but Konami decide to hit you anyway. That's what they did. This deck did nothing. This deck had like one top. Oh, sorry, my background. I've lost the ban list, sorry. There we go. This deck had one top. Like, per major event, you know? I'd hardly call it a meta deck. Do you know what I mean? Like, ugh. The deck is funny because you can still play with one Canahawk. Don't get me wrong. You can still play with one Canahawk. Like, you only need one to, you know, resolve your 20 searches per turn. The problem is now that you can't, it locks away some combos now. So you can't ram Pengu for Ulti Canahawk, obviously. Because now you've banished your Archfiend and, like, what do you do? So you can't use Rampengu, which means it closes off combos like summon Rampengu, send the Canahawk, banish the ulti Canahawk, and then like Brain Research Lab for Lara or something like that. You can't do that anymore because, well, you've only got one searcher now, so you can't use Rampengu. And yeah, so I think that was a pretty important combo. It made cards like Brain Research Lab and Terraforming staple in the deck. So that's not available anymore. And I don't know what you can do to replace that combo. The deck was always pretty bricky. That was the deck's only issue, was that it was really inconsistent. And to make it even more inconsistent is like, well, I don't know what they were trying to hit with this, like pendulums? Like, okay, like double steeds. I mean, what are you hoping to hit? Mage Spectres can't be destroyed. What are you hoping to hit? Like, what are you hoping to steeds that's good? Like, a fucking Dark Destroyer. Okay. I'll make a Forerunner. I'll make a Slip Rider and pop your other back row. Do you know what I mean? Like, what is Konami thinking that this deck can do that is gonna, like, affect the game adversely at this stage in time? What am I gonna steeds? Burning Abyss monsters? Maybe, that's probably like the only half decent matchup I have. Unless of course you steeds me on their macro, at which point I just like flip the table. That's though I hate that. That shit sucks. I'm sorry, this is just so funny to me, because this is a funny ban list. Do you know why? Because they're just killing everything. Like, look, what's my next hit here? El Shaddoll Fusion. Okay, why? You've banned Construct. What am I gonna make? A Shek. Shek is... Shek sucks. I don't have any Earth monsters. What, do you want me to play, like, the one Mathematician? You want me to play one Mathematician as my Earth target? Sure. What am I gonna do? I could have 8 fusions. You could let me play 5 Shaddoll Fusion and like 6 L Shaddoll Fusion. I'd play like 11, and then like a polymerization with Rotas. They hit Rota as well, by the way. So I could play like 15 fusions. It doesn't matter. I'm making Shek. That's my bet. That's my boss monster. What the hell is Shek? What does it do? It does nothing. 3,000 booty. Like, okay, it's not hard to bait out one Shek, you know. And how are you making it? Mathematician. Are you kidding me? Mathematician. What are okay, let's say Lilith is my boss monster. What are my water targets? Like, am I gonna play like Pendulum Shaddolls with like 3 gigabytes and clowns and stuff? Is that what I should play? Is that what you're suggesting that I could? Without Construct, is that what Konami are seriously suggesting? Is this why you hit El Shaddoll Fusion? Because you think I might start playing Lilith Turbo? You killed Nekros. What am I gonna do with Lilith? What am I gonna do? What does that stop? Nothing. Or Shek. You want me to make Shek? What are my Earth targets that are good? You limited math. Why are you hitting Fusion? What more do you want from me? You're hitting my just... What are good Earth monsters in this game? I don't know. Like Bulb. Like Glow Up Bulb. Yeah, I'll play like 4, sure. Let's just move on. So El Shaddoll hit. Rota, let's talk seriously about this one, because this one isn't that funny. This one actually, like, you know, has some proper theory behind it. All the other things I've mentioned so far is just funny. Like, why did you hit El Fusion? You banned Construct. What? Why did you hit, like, I don't know, Mathematician? You scared of insectors or something? I don't know. Right, anyway, Rota got hit. Real talk. So this is the first ban list in a while where Konami haven't outright slaughtered the winning deck. And I find that fascinating because normally, well, for as long as anyone can remember, Konami have just destroyed, slit, killed the winning deck, right? Just destroyed it. And, you know, so they've destroyed all the meta decks, but they haven't hit the world winning deck. And they used to hit all the world winning decks, but they didn't hit it this time. But they did hit Rota. And if I had a tinfoil hat right now, I don't have a tinfoil hat, sorry. I'm not going to find tinfoil in my bedroom, what am I doing? Anyway, if I had a tinfoil hat right now, I would put it on, and I would tell you guys that in my opinion, Rota was not hit because of Telenites, it was hit to compensate things like Nekros playing different engines and stuff like that. Because OCG had a phase where Nekros were down to like freaking 2 Jews, 1 Unicore, 1 Bryanak or something like that. And they had like 3 Rota. And they were playing things like the Halberd dude that the freaking level 4 Cyber Dragon Halberd guy. You know, and when you have the 3 Rota and him, you know, and some clowns, you don't have a terrible deck. You know, Nekros sort of become a little bit kind of, you know, they're probably going to be okay. I wouldn't say they're going to win many events, but, you know, you'll find a couple of tops here and there. So by limiting Rota, they've essentially eliminated every chance that Nekros have of doing well. In terms of the new support and the new decks coming out, I can't see Rota being fitted in there at all. So it's, you know, easy for me to say that perhaps I think it would be logical to conclude, therefore, that Rota was not hit because of these things. It was hit because of Nekros and potential, like, what's the word, alternative decks, meta decks, like incorporating new ideas and stuff. That's why I think Rota got hit. I think that's it for spells. Seer got 2, already been over that. Everything else here is irrelevant. I got nothing to say about this. I'm sorry. Or Chaos Sorcerer to 3, what is this, 2008? Like, what took you so long? Shien, okay, cool. Deck's trash. Give it 3 Gateway, it'll probably still be shit. Not even lying. Spellbook of Fate at 3. You wouldn't play 3 anyway, you know? So, you can play 2. 2's that's kind of important now because they got a bit of a loop going on, but like, what are you gonna fate? Like, seriously, what are you gonna fate in this, like, the speed of the decks today? Like, what are you gonna fate? Like, the deck has nothing without Judgment, really. And I've also, you know, with my friends, I've argued that Judgment could come back if it didn't have the special, if Jalgan got hit, sorry. So, yeah. I mean, you guys don't know what's coming in Bosch. Like, until you see what we're getting in Bosch in the next set in January, and then you go and tell me that spellbooks shouldn't have Judgment back, there is something wrong with you, because, like, searching out 3 Solemn cards, or searching out, like, 1 Solemn card with Infinity and Rafflesia, like, don't tell me Judgment is broken, please. You know, with like a 5-card hand as well and a full extra deck of Pendulum Monsters or something, right? Don't tell me Spellbook Judgment is too good in that scenario. It's not. So Spellbooks, I swear to God, Spellbooks could be full power and they would be like, you know, they would be meta next format. But I think they'd still probably lose to MM. Legit, I think they would still lose to MM. But yeah, like in theory, you know, hypothetically, I think they could get Judgment back if they ban Jalgan. Because like +5, +6, you know, most of them didn't even resolve it in the first turn. They had to like search it in the end phase. Like, even if you, the ideal spellbook hand, if assuming Jalgan is banned, right, they go like +5 or +6 or something, right? So what? Who cares? Like, have you seen MM? Have you seen some of the stuff that deck can do? You know, please don't tell me like Judgment is comparable. Anyway, so the other one relevant thing here is Gear. And I don't have really much to say about this except the fact that Gear deck only did good because it was a slow format. like set armor set 4 isn't gonna do much in 2015. Sorry guys, it's really not. Like, I have a feeling we'll get 1 Yugioh at Lille because the guy got lucky and played pendulum decks all day, and he happened to draw his set Fragrance, set Ironwall, blah 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 all day long against Cosmo and stuff like that. Because, you know, the deck abuses floodgates really well. You can play your macro, which is pretty good against Cosmo. You can play your macro Cosmos, which is good against Cosmo. Did I say? It's okay against Cosmo, but it's good. It's good against pendulum decks. That's what I think. That's what I meant to say. You can main Iron Wall for Cosmo. You can main anti-spell Fragrance for pendulum decks, and make Gigants and win. Like, oh, I can see that happening. I can see a top or two at a YCS with that. But the cards itself, like I said, most of these decks, like Qliphort and shit, they've only ever been good because of their abuse of floodgates rather than the engine itself being good. Yeah. I think I've been ranting long enough now. Yeah, that's been my in-depth analysis of the format and the format to come. So, if you've watched this long, do me a favor. I want you to write in the comments. What could we say? Let's go say Morphing Jar 3. So if you've watched up to this point, comment down below Morphing Jar 3, and I'll know that you've watched this long, and I'll have to give you a special like hug or something to realize that you've listened to me for this long and you've put up with my stupidity this long. So thank you. So yeah, Morphing Jar 3 down below, and let me know what you think about this. Do you agree with me? Is there anything I said that is a bit silly or whatever? I'll be interested to hear your thoughts and stuff. So thanks again as always for listening. Comment, like, subscribe. Morphing Jar 3. See you later.